All right, welcome everyone. Today I will be goldfishing my friend's Oloro Ageless Ascetic commander deck, and funny enough, he tends to keep his actual commander card in a hard case, and he forgot to give me the hard case with the actual card, so I had to kind of make do with what we have, so forgive me if the quality isn't super great, but this is Oloro Ageless Ascetic, 3 in esper, so a white, a blue, and a black for a legendary creature, giant soldier. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1 generic. If you do, you draw a card and each opponent loses 1 life. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if Oloro Ageless Ascetic is in the command zone, you gain 2 life. So there is a really strong possibility when you're playing this commander that you actually never cast them, because gaining that 2 life is kind of neat. This deck is definitely, or at least my friend's version of it, is definitely very control-centric across the board. It's not really relying on many creatures, so I wonder how that's going to translate to us goldfishing, so we'll have to use a bit of our imaginations with this one, but just keep that in mind. So I'm going to put this guy over here, make sure that everything is looking good. So let's shuffle this guy up a little bit. So this deck is kind of sort of teetering that line between extremely high powered, whatever bracket that would be, and cedh. So keep that in mind as well. I know that Oloro is a very controversial commander, so there is definitely a cult of Oloro. There's a lot of people that love him. There's a lot of people that do not like him. I just like playing Magic the Gathering, so if you pop out Oloro, I mean, I'll play it. I'll play against you, but I'm probably going to try to knock you out first, just because, you know, control's annoying, but part of the game. So you got to learn to love it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's see what we got here. Gonna be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure if this is a great hand or not. I think it's going to be very dependent on what you're playing against. So Bojuka Bog is great for going after an opponent's graveyard. There's plenty of commander decks that are graveyard centered, so that's kind of nice. Black Market Connections, oh, this is cool. So it looks like this is from Assassin's Creed. It's actually a reprint. This is an awesome enchantment, actually. So 2 in a black. Beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you choose 1 or more. You sell contraband, so you create a treasure token, you lose 1 life. Buy info, draw a card, you lose 2 life. Or you hire a mercenary, where you create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. You lose 3 life. It has every creature type, so really, really strong. Toxic Deluge for creature removal. Sick Looking Swamp. We got a Supreme Verdict, which cannot be countered, so it's just a board wipe that cannot be countered. Island, Swamp, and a Bojuka Bog. I think it's alright. 1, 2, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4 lands. I don't have any card draw. I don't have any counter spells. I'd probably ship this back. I might try doing a couple hands. Let's try a different hand here. I'm wondering what he has in this deck for card draw. Kind of do almost like a blind react when it comes to these goldfishing videos. I played against this deck before, but you know, I've never actually been the one piloting it. So, all right, let's see if we get something a little better here. Give me just a second. All right, so we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, let's see. So we got an island. We got that Supreme Verdict again. Looks like my shuffling wasn't very good. Scalding Tarn to get some mana fixing. We have a Venser Shaper Savant, so 2 and 2 blue for legendary creature human wizard that has flash. When he enters a battlefield, you return target spell or permanent to its owner's hand, and it's a 2/2, so it's a nice little kind of counter spell and creature. I've seen this card played in a lot of like bounce decks and stuff, or flicker decks, so there are ways to abuse them. I'm not sure how many ways we can abuse them in this deck. We have the infamous Yawgmoth's Will, so 2 and 2 black. For a sorcery, it says, until end of turn, you may play cards in your graveyard as though they were in your hand. Cards put into your graveyard this turn are removed from the game instead. So it's essentially giving, it's almost like flashback. I know this is an older card, and it's definitely sees play in cedh, so that's extremely strong. We have a Mystic Confluence, so choose 3, you may choose the same mode more than once. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3, or you return target creature to its owner's hand and you draw a card. So it's a counter spell that gives us some variety here. Let's try like one more hand. Let's see what happens. Again, Oloro in this case, I mean, at the beginning of your upkeep, you're gaining 2 life, so it is a nice way of padding your life total. I don't think I've ever seen my buddy actually cast Oloro, ever. Throughout a game of Commander, especially if it goes long and you're playing a control deck, gaining a little bit of life every turn just kind of helps keep you alive. All right. I guess my question for everyone as I'm shuffling this is, do any of you play Oloro or play any sort of control deck in Commander? Let me know in the comments who your favorite control commander is. Also, how are we feeling about cedh? I've only played it one time, and it was with a bunch of proxies, and it was kind of cool, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I like that the games were a lot faster, I'll give it that. There's a lot of interaction on the stack, which is cool as well. But I feel like it's a format where the more you know about the stack and interactions and sequencing and all that fun stuff, you're going to have a competitive edge. But that's, I suppose, in every single format. So we got land tax, Scalding Tarn again, Yawgmoth's Will, and a Narset's Reversal. Well, let's goldfish this. Let's see how it goes. So, all right, so let's say that it's our turn and we're going first because the magic gods have favored us today. So, beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. It's really the third clause here that says at the beginning of your upkeep, if Oloro is in the command zone, you gain 2 life. So we will gain our 2. We will move to draw because it's a multiplayer game. We're seeing Supreme Verdict. Man, I should have piled and shuffled this. It's kind of funny. Let's see. So we'll put down a Scalding Tarn as our land for turn. We don't have a turn 1 play, and we are definitely, well, never mind, we do. You may search library and remove up to 3, reshuffle your library afterwards. But would you open with land tax? I don't play with this card a whole lot. During your upkeep, if an opponent controls more land than you, you may search your library and remove up to 3 basic land cards, put them into your hand, and reshuffle your library afterwards. Controls more land than you. Would people have more lands on turn 1? Maybe on turn 2 or something if they ramp, potentially, like a ramping growth or something. I'm not going to play it right away. I'm going to say go. And then the turn will come back to us. Actually, you know what? At the end, my last opponent's turn, I'm going to crack the Scalding Tarn, lose the 1 life. And I'm going to search for... what do I need here? What do we have here? Oh, we got a lot of fun stuff in here, actually. Let's see. Maybe a Rafine's Tower would be nice, just so that we get access to all 3 colors. That makes a lot of sense to me. Let's see. Yeah, That's probably going to be our pick. Unless we want to get like a shock land or something, I suppose. Godless Shrine. Oh, that's a cool looking Teferi. It's really sweet artwork. I'm pretty sure that's from Secret Lair. Yeah. Let's get the Rafine's Tower. It'll come in tapped. So Rafine's Tower is one of the triomes, I think is what we're calling them. So they come in tapped, but they have the land type of Plains, Island, and Swamp, or at least this one does. So if you have fetch lands, or if you have any spells that allow you to go and search for any of these 3 land types, you're able to grab it from your deck, which is cool. And I think that like the first round of them were printed in Ikoria, and then I want to say that the rest of them were printed in New Capenna, although I could be wrong. But I want to say them right. And it also cycles too. I never realized it has cycling 3, so that means that you can discard a card and then draw a card. So we'll have this come in tapped. I'll go back to our turn. We will untap, draw a card. Drew into a Leyline of the Void, which doesn't feel very great right now, but whatever. Let's put down, actually, hold on. This is my mistake. Don't miss this because this is something that has to happen, is you have to gain that 2 life. So we'll put Leyline of the Void back on top. I'm going to use a die. This is a nice technique for OG Magic players. They've done this before, but for new players, if you ever have like an upkeep trigger that has to happen before your draw step, it's always nice to kind of put a die on top of your deck, kind of remind you that, hey, something is going on. So that's helped me in the past. I should probably start doing that again. So untap, upkeep. At my upkeep, since I'm seeing the die on top of my deck, I am going to gain 2 life since Oloro is in my command zone. So go to 43, remove that, draw a card. There we go. So Leyline of the Void. Again, kind of disappointing. Whatever. Let's do an island as our land for turn. And then I think at this point, let's say that our opponents are ramped up or have more lands than us, we'll tap the Rafine's Tower to play a land tax. So land tax is 1 white for an enchantment that has a pretty strong ability here. So during your upkeep, if an opponent controls more land than you, you may search your library and remove up to 3 basic land cards, put them into your hand, and then you reshuffle your library afterwards. So it's not going to have an immediate effect, but it'll be nice during our next upkeep. So I'm going to put that down. I unfortunately don't have any free counter spells at the moment. Kind of setting myself up well for the Supreme Verdict, because I feel like you're going to, at least like at non-cedh tables, you're going to encounter a lot of creature decks. So this is actually in a good position to kind of make sure that we're not completely folding to aggro, which is great. All right, so I'll ship the turn. I'll put the die on top of my library again. I don't have enough mana for any interaction, although Narset's Reversal is pretty sick. We'll get to that at some point here. So then turn 3, back to us, so we will untap. We have 2 triggers that hit the stack. So we have the land tax and Oloro. I guess in this case, it doesn't really matter. The sequencing doesn't seem to be very important. So I will just gain the 2 life. So go to 45 and then we'll do land tax. So if an opponent controls more lands than you, you may search your library and remove up to 3 basic land cards. And it doesn't say that they have to be the same basic lands. Put them into your hand and then reshuffle your library afterwards. So we'll say that someone's playing green and they've somehow been able to, I don't know, turbo out a bunch of lands. So they have more lands than us. I'm going to go search the library for of the 3 basic land cards. I wonder if there's not an errata on this, right? No, I don't think so. Well, if there is, I'll include a note here, but I don't think so. I think you can grab 3 of any. So there we go. Or maybe I'll go search for prettier looking lands. Here, hang on. Yeah, let's get the Godzilla lands. Those are cool, man. Those are some sick lands. Oh, he's got a couple of them too. Lots of command tower. Look at another sick looking swamp. And do we have any planes up in here? I'm not seeing any bougie planes. But I want to say that this planes is from the Space Marines Warhammer Commander deck. I forget what the deck was called, but I'm pretty sure it's from that Universes Beyond Commander stuff. Alright, so actually, let's do an island, a swamp, and a plains. That'll go to my hand. I'm going to shuffle this back in here, actually. Because then what does this say? It says, remove up to 3 basic land cards and put them into your hand, and then you reshuffle your library afterwards. So, 3 basic lands coming to my hand. That's sweet. And then shuffle your library. Mind you, this is all happening at our upkeep. We haven't even gone to draw a card for our turn yet. So now we will draw a card for our turn. Unfortunately, some more basic lands here. Let's put down... what are we missing? Let's put down this sick-looking swamp. I think this is from Unstable. It's one of the John Avon lands. Man, that's really cool. I like how there's some light off in the distance or something. Gives me some very, like, ominous, I don't know, UFO vibes or something. Like, I don't know, Florida Everglades vibes or something. If you're from the States, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, you should look it up. It's a pretty cool area in, what is that, the southeast Minnesota, or southeast Minnesota, southeast United States. Okay, so play the swamp. Agamos Will is not doing anything for us. Leyline of the Void's not doing anything for us either. We'll keep Narset's Reversal on tap here, and then we are going to send the turn away. So as you can see with this deck, you're kind of observing like what's going on like in the game itself. You're not really going to be putting a whole lot of stuff down or like removing too many things. There's some removal, obviously. Like we have the Supreme Verdict that's coming up, but you know, it's just something to keep in mind. So Oloro's still in our command zone. Okay, it'll actually, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm getting too excited here. So let's say that we do go to the end of our turn. Have to discard some fun stuff here. I'm going to get rid of the Leyline of the Void. Let's say that we're not playing against like any graveyard deck that's, or any deck that's having a lot of like graveyard synergies. So we'll get rid of a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. So we toss those. Turn goes around the table. Let's say that there's something really spicy, right? Let's say that someone goes to tutor and they cast a vampiric tutor or something, and they're trying to find some important piece. What we can do is, in response to that being casted, we can do a Narset's Reversal. So Narset's Reversal sick. It's a double blue for an instant. You copy target instant or sorcery spell, then you return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. So in this case, we'll copy the Vampiric Tutor. I don't remember if you lose life off of Vampiric Tutor or not. Maybe, does my buddy have a Vampiric Tutor in this? Because if he does, we can just read the card. Let's check. A lot of pretty stuff in here, but I'm not seeing a vampiric tutor. Oh no, there it is. So this kind of sick alt art from Dominaria Remastered, I think. Search your library for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top. You lose 2 life. Okay. So we are going to lose the 2 life. What to do? I mean, we could just try to go for Demonic Consultation, I suppose, if we really wanted to. Let's go down that route. Let's see if we can actually, like, pull off that Degenerate, Thassa's Oracle, Demonic Consultation. Let's see if I remember how to actually do that correctly. I think it's pretty simple. Okay, so I'm going to put this top of my library. I'm going to lose 2 life. And this will go to the top. I actually don't have to reveal it, I don't believe. No, I don't have to reveal it. So that's just for us to know. And the other Vampiric Tutor gets bounced back to my opponent's hand. So Narcissus Reversal just makes a copy. It pseudo counters it. It just bounces it back. And then you get to make a copy of, you know, that instant or sorcery spell, which is neat. But just keep in mind that it does just bounce it back. So you're not fully getting rid of a problematic instant or sorcery spell, but you're going to obviously like get the value of copying that spell, and then hopefully that would be enough to win, right? So Narcissus Reversal hits the bin, and I'm going to put that on top so I remember this stuff. And then it'll come back to our turn. So I'll untap, upkeep. Let's say again that we have 2 triggers. So we have Oloro, and then we have land tax. So I'll gain my 2. Go to 45. We're playing against someone that's playing green, so we're going to go search for 3 basic lands. We'll do a cool looking island, swamp, and let's get this swamp too. Wow, that's a pretty swamp. Look, check that out. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so we put those guys away. We're not putting them away, we're just putting them to our hand. Probably gonna end up discarding them, which is kind of funny. All right, so then that was all at our upkeep. I'll draw a card for the turn. So I drew into a mana drain, that's sweet. Now that we have hang on. I screwed that up, didn't I? Okay, again, I hope everyone laughs at me for that. That's kind of funny. So, if your opponent... Okay, so I screwed myself over because of the land tax. If an opponent controls more lands, you may... Okay, that was my mistake. I shouldn't have searched for lands because I got rid of my Vampiric Tutor, which was the Demonic Consultation, and this is why we goldfish decks that we are not familiar with. This is also why we're not playing cedh. Hang tight. Let me crack this. There. Okay. So I'll tell you what. We will keep the Demonic Consultation on top of our library, and we will ship those 3 lands back because we're actually going to skip the land tax trigger this turn because it is a may ability. So if it says may, then you have the option to or to not actually go and search in this case. So you're not obligated to. Whereas with Oloro, you have to gain the 2 life if the condition is met, in this case, him being in our command zone. All right, so sorry about that. Well, we're all learning here, so. All right, so Demonic Consultation will go on top, off the Vampiric Tutor and everything. So we'll draw into Demonic Consultation. as our card for turn. Now that we've corrected everything. Oh, mana drain needs to get sent back to you. Hang on. Okay. So, what we got going on here? All right. We'll pretend that our opponents all have a billion creatures out, and we want to get rid of them. So we will do Prairie Stream. That's going to enter untapped because we have 2 basic lands. We will tap the 4, and we will cast the Supreme Verdict and destroy all creatures. That is our turn. Again, not super exciting, but if you just 1 for 20 to your whole table, you're going to feel pretty good. So that's the way that this plays. All right, pass the turn. I'm going to put this on top to remember those triggers. All right, back to our turn. This time, again, our opponent has more lands than us, so I will do the land tax trigger and then the Oloro trigger. That's the way I'll stack it. So search for an island, swamp, and another swamp. Or do I want a plains? Maybe I want a plains instead. Yeah. Ooh, I didn't even realize that this was a plains. I know these are all Secret Lair, and I know everyone has their opinions on Secret Lair, but I kind of think it's a cool opportunity for artists to like kind of showcase their stuff, and obviously no one's obligated to buy any of this. I'm not a fan of how expensive some of these Secret Lairs have been getting, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. I don't buy a whole lot of Secret Lairs. I know that there's a lot of controversy around like the Final Fantasy one that dropped like a week ago. I think people were getting kicked out of their place in the queue or whatever. They were waiting for like an hour plus. So just, I don't know, man. I got so many opinions, but I'll just keep them to myself. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're just getting flooded here, unfortunately. So this isn't super great by any means. Put down this cool looking. Oh, hold on. Did I gain my 2? I'm gonna gain 2 off of Oloro. I'm gonna draw a card. Am I getting my stuff mixed up here? No. Okay. So we drew into a consigned to memory. So it's 1 blue for an instant that has replicate 1. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you pay its replicate cost. You may choose new targets for the copies and counter target triggered ability or colorless spell. So it can hit artifacts, Eldrazi, anything that's colorless, which is awesome. And it can also counter a triggered ability as well. And you can technically end up countering several things because you would pay the 1 blue, and then if there were 2 triggered abilities and 1 colorless spell that you want to counter, I believe you just pay an additional 3. So you're paying 4 mana total. So 1 blue and 3 generic. But you're going to end up countering 3 different things, which is sweet in this case. Or no. How much would you be paying? If there's 2 colorless things, let's say 1 colorless thing and 2 triggered abilities that you want to counter. You pay the 1 blue just for like the spell itself. Okay. Stand corrected. So you pay the 1 blue, that would technically counter 1 of the spells, and then when you pay 2 more into it, you're countering an additional spell, a 3rd spell. So it would only cost you 3. Dude, this consigned to memory is a sweet card, actually. Okay, awesome. So drew into that. I might end up just having to play Oloro just for kicks, which is also, I mean, it's always an option if it really comes down to it, I suppose, because we don't got a whole lot going on here. Board is cleared. I'm just drawing into cards here, and for the sake of the video, we will cast. Oh, no, we can't cast Oloro yet. He cost 6. I never even knew he costed 6. That's funny, because I've never actually seen him cast before. It might be the first person on YouTube to cast Oloro, but he cast 6, or he cost 6, sorry. Yawgmoth's Will, it's not doing anything. Demonic Consultation's not doing anything. Alright, we'll shift the turn. We'll say that someone is trying to like get a bunch of triggers going or whatever. We can cast this consigned to memory, and we just countered 5 instances of a triggered ability. Let's say we countered 4, and then we countered like some big Eldrazi or something that they were going to cast too. Sweet. Actually, how does that work with Eldrazi then? Because if they have a cast... Hold on. I had to think this one through. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you cast an Eldrazi that has a, when casted, like ability, that goes on the stack. I think it's the... Well, you cast the creature first, and then that, when cast, goes on the stack. So then I could play a consigned to memory for 1 blue, and I could target the triggered ability of that, like when casted ability, and then I could pay an extra of any color to then counter the Eldrazi. Dude, that's brutal. So you're able to actually counter Eldrazi and their when casted ability. That's nasty. Okay, we'll do that for the turn. Put that on top. Turn comes back to us. Untap. Again, say someone has more lands than us, just because I'm trying to kind of thin out the deck. Do a swamp. We'll do a plains and an island. Okay, so now I'm just wondering, like, are the only 2 win conditions in this deck the Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation line, or what, beatdowns with Oloro? Because there's only like a couple creatures in here. I'm not sure. Alright, so we did that. We'll gain our 2, go to 49. We'll draw a card for the turn. We drew into Opposition Agent. That's cool. Let's do... Actually, hang on. I want to make sure I have enough mana for what I want to do here. So at minimum, I got 2 blue. I got 4 blue. Let's put down another swamp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we'll just go to the end of our turn, and we will get rid of these 3. 6, 7. Okay. So we'll get rid of those 3, and then turn is going. Everyone's having fun. Not really, because they're playing against Oloro. And then we decide to cast, let's say that someone is like casting a demonic tutor. There we go. Let's do swamp. Let's do double swamp. And why not? We'll do double swamp and an island. We'll keep these 3 up because people will think that we have a lot of counter spells, a lot of interaction, which we currently don't. But they don't know that. And then we cast Opposition Agent. Hold on, how does this work again? When you... Okay, so it's 2 and a black, Human Rogue, Flash. You control your opponent while they're searching their library. So while an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though were mana of any color to cast. So let's say that in this situation, I'm looking at someone's deck, right? So I'm going to look at someone's deck, and they just... I'm not looking at someone's deck. I'm looking at the deck of the person who just ended up casting like a tutor or whatever. Okay, so now we are looking at our opponent's deck. Oh goodness, look at that. They also have a Thassa's Oracle. So we are going to exile that card. because we are controlling our opponent. So we're going to exile this puppy. We play those cards as long as they remain exiled. So we will exile it. Turn will come back to us. We will untap. We will go to our upkeep. Sure, we will search for 3 more. 1. Do we have any more lands in here? We may not. Oh, no, we do. Okay, there. We bind our 3, which I'm hoping we're playing land tax correctly, because it just says up to 3 basic land cards. Doesn't say of a specific type. So we got the 3. We're going to gain our 2. We're going to draw a card. So all is dust. Again, just some more full-on removal. So I guess the game plan now is just to beat face with the opposition agent. So we'll go to combat just to send a message. And then we will cast the Thassa's Oracle from exile. This is not ours, this is our opponent's, but it comes under our control. So we'll cast that. For those of you that don't know, I'm pretty sure most of you do, but Thassa's Oracle is double blue. Creature, Merfolk Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. Okay, so what does it actually do? When it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion of blue. So in this case, you look at the top 2, put up to 1 of them on top of your library, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So Thassa's Oracle trigger, we will, maintain priority. So with Thassa's Oracle trigger on the stack, in response to that, we will then cast Demonic Consultation, which says, it's a lot of text, so it's 1 black for an instant, name a card, remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game, and reveal the next card to all players. If it is the named card, put it into your hand. If not, remove that card from the game and continue revealing the top card of your library and removing it from the game until the named card appears. So in this case, you're going to want to select a card that is not in your deck. So let's say Tarmogoyf. So remove the top 6 cards of your library, which is basically saying exile the top 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we exile the top 6, and then it says, and reveal it to all players. If it is the card named, put it into your hand. If not, remove that card from the game and continue revealing the top card of your library and removing it from the game until the named card appears. So we're still looking for a Tarmogoyf. That's not Tarmogoyf. That's not Tarmogoyf. That's not Tarmogoyf. So on and so forth, right? So essentially what's going to end up happening is we're going to exile our entire deck is going to be exiled, and then we are going to, so the Mind Consultation resolves, that all happens, we don't have any more cards in our deck. Thassa's Oracle's trigger then goes on the stack, so it's going to, let's go and check the top of our library. We don't have anything, so the top part doesn't matter. And then it says here, if X, which is your devotion to blue, is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So in this case, our devotion to blue is 2 pips, and we don't have any cards in our library, so our devotion to blue is greater than the cards in our library, and we win the game. It is probably the most efficient way to win in Magic the Gathering. It feels dirty, it feels cheap, but you know, this is probably not the type of deck that you would like whip out to play with your friends casually. Although, of course, it's not. It's almost there at cEDH levels. I suppose that the deck gets ganged up on which is like what typically happens when my buddy plays this at lower power levels. You know, unless he hits board wipe after board wipe after board wipe, like we're able to contend. But just knowing that, like, you know, there's such a kind of a cheesy win. And again, you know, plenty of board wipes, plenty of ways of, I mean, Yagama's Will's crazy. In case something happens, you can kind of try to do all this stuff again. Counters, a couple creatures, just a lot of value. And this is kind of a fun card, actually. This is kind of fun tech. Commandeer? There we go. English stuff. So 5 colorless and 2 blue. So it's an expensive little spell for an instant that says you may remove 2 blue cards in your hand from the game rather than pay Commandeer's mana cost. And you gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets for it. That spell is an artifact or enchantment. The permanent comes into play under your control. So it's a nice way of stealing stuff. Being able to just exile 2 blue cards from your hand is brutal because it becomes a free spell. And you gain control of target non-creature spell. I mean, that's really intense. So you can hit planeswalkers, artifacts, instant sorceries, enchantments, sieges, battles, whatever those things are. Yeah, you can hit a ton of stuff. You can't hit lands with it, obviously, but yeah, give this card a try. It's actually pretty fun, especially if you're playing with enough blue cards in your deck for it to work out. You know, he's got tutors. He's got Narset in Japanese. I think this is Narset, part of Veils. Toxic Deluge is another board wipe. Ristic Study. Force of Will, actually. I remember my buddy pulled this from one of the Ultimate Masters, like, was it Ultimate? No, it was Double Masters. It was like those $100 boxes or packs. That stuff was crazy. But yeah, he pulled this. I also saw him pull a Mana Crypt from another pack, which was insane because it was like the full art foil, whatever. Rest in peace to Mana Crypt. Smothering Tithe. He's got a Dam, so more board wipe. This is from the what's it called? Duskmourn. But it's like the little expansion thing that was like a TV or whatever. Because this is like the Goosebumps artwork. Swan Song. Terminus, because it's just super efficient. Nightmare Unmaking. He has a Farewell, which is annoying as heck. Merciless Eviction. This is Overwhelming Denial in Japanese. Flusterstorm. Baleful Strix. Ooh, dude, that art's really cool. I hope the camera's picking that up because that's really cool. Artwork's kind of dark, but I've always been a sucker for Baleful Strix. I think it's a really fun card. Settle the Wreckage, again, just to, you know, kind of dump on creature decks. Trick Bind. I've been hit with this so many times. I feel like this is my buddy's like favorite card to play. So it's a 1 and a blue for an instant that has split second, which is just brutal. So as long as the spell is on the stack, players can't play spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. So you counter target activated or triggered ability. If a permanent's ability is countered this way, activated abilities of that permanent can't be played this turn. Mana abilities can't be targeted. Trying to think of examples here, because counter target activated or triggered ability. So, for example, Walking Ballista, let's say has like 5+1/+1s, and you go to shoot Walking Ballista, you activate it, you can counter it, and if a permanent's ability is countered this way, activated abilities of that permanent can't be played this turn. So you can't actually turn on, you can't try to like shoot again with the Walking Ballista. And since this has split second, you can't like shoot in response to this. Like it basically like it counters the first shot. So like you're removing a +1/+1 counter from the Walking Ballista. So that feels bad because all of a sudden like the controller of the Walking Ballista is getting no value. And then you're preventing that Walking Ballista from like doing anything else the rest of the turn. I mean, it can still attack and all that stuff, but it can't activate that that ability. It's an activate ability. Final Showdown. This is from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Cyclonic Rift, because why not? Sphinx's Revelation for card draw. Darkness is just a fog in black. Cryptic Command, Mystical Tutor. I'm not going to go over every single one. Demonic Tutor. I mean, you guys, if you play this game, you guys know what's up. Grim Tutor. This is a very beautiful counter spell. I wonder what this would look like in foil. Jace the Mind Sculptor. I think he just has this in here for the memes, to be totally honest. Maybe the nostalgia. Tainted Aether. Whenever a creature comes into play, its controller sacrifices a creature or land, so it's kind of a stacks effect. Mindbreak, Teferi, Hero Dominaria, because just broken Planeswalkers, Consecrated Sphinx. Again, I think this is more for the nostalgia, but very powerful card. Swords to Plowshare, Teferi's Protection, perfect. Cool Soul Ring. He has a time stop in here. I've lost to this before. Like, I'm about to like combo out or win or something, and then all of a sudden just he hits me with this. Just straight up just says end the turn. That's crazy, man. And then Mana Drain. So I will I'll add this deck to Mox Field later today, so y'all can take a look at it. But if any of you run Oloro and you run them in a more casual build, let me know what you do with them, because I know that the alternative is to use him as a life gain deck, and that's a viable option too. Maybe a little boring. I don't know. I mean, goldfishing this isn't super fun because I have to like really role play, but it does feel good to play control, and I understand its role in the game. It has to be there. I know people want to like play their big dinosaurs and lizards and dragons and Eldrazi, but you have to have someone to police the table. Otherwise, it's just going to be like a giant slugfest all the time. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please leave a like, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It seems like there's a lot of people that are returning, watching the videos and enjoying them, but they are not subscribing. I would greatly appreciate if you would subscribe. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.